Hi. This is the third part. We have been discussing about LLP. First, the provisions of LLP Act 2008, then about Income Tax Act, which are relevant for firm and LLP. Now, in this third part, a very typical land deal, maybe of development, maybe of redevelopment, how that can be implemented through LLP. That is a discussion, but this is a very generalized discussion. Specifics about a particular business transaction could be very different, and those have to be on case-to-case basis on each business deal as it comes. Okay. So I'll be projecting the list as I have prepared, as I thought could probably be whensoever that particular deal comes through, or there can be various combinations also which can happen. But this is a very generalized discussion that probably some mix and match out of this is what is going to figure out. LLP has generally minimum it needs 2 partners. Okay, so at the start there can be a case where there may not be 2 partners, where there may be 2 partners who are individuals, and then the investor and then the developer etc. comes up if there is an existing LLP. Now there can be a case where someone has a private limited company or some other partnership firm etc. They can also convert it into LLP. So again, this is as per your convenience, or it can be straightway a fresh LLP being formed. Now developer is the one who has construction related expertise, sales related expertise. Okay. And he is developing the project. He has identified a particular land for particular project development. Now he needs funds. He needs funds for this development, and for that particular reason, okay, he is engaging, he is bringing in an investor, somebody who can put in money for the sake of this development, which can be right from purchasing the land or purchasing the development rights to so on. Now, the investor and the developer, they are the ones who are the partners in the LLP, and they will be entering into the LLP agreement. Okay. Now, commencement date, this is in LLP Act. It's the date of LLP agreement registration. That is important. From that day, the mutual rights, responsibilities, duties of the partners come into picture. Now, as in any other real estate development, there are bound to be certain conditions precedents. Okay, so now this is deal to deal, transaction to transaction. Whatever are those CPs, an investor may take a commitment from a developer that you first comply with all these CPs, then I will pump in my money. Okay. That can be the case. That may not be the case also. I'm mentioning here generally. Okay. Now assume here this is the case where land is purchased by LLP, and assume that 5 crores are contributed by developer and 50 crores are by the investor. Okay. This ratio also can change. Okay. Somewhere the developer can contribute more or less also, and the investor can also contribute more or less. Okay. But with this money, then the LLP related land in transaction can happen. Okay, so the capital has to first come into that. Generally, there will be CPs, those have to be fulfilled, and after that, all this can happen. There are designated partners. We saw in the first part. Designated partners are required, and LLP Act says that designated partners are a must. Okay, under Section 2, Clause J of LLP Act 2008, and these designated partners have to be individuals only. So this particular agreement itself mentions names of individuals who will be acting as designated partners, because they are the ones, as we saw in LLP Act 2008, who will be responsible for all ALL, all compliances of LLP. Generally, it is maybe a CFO, maybe some very senior person. Now, for the entire arrangement, the basis is the expertise of this developer in design, execution, etc., getting approvals, all this stuff. So it generally, it's not a rule that a developer will be contributing less. Second aspect is that there will be no human resource, there will be no employee in this LLP, but the entire management of construction will be done by the developer. So this being the case, the developer's contribution could be less, and that of an investor could be more. Okay. So again, deal to deal, this can change. There is a business plan. Business plan certainly has what will be the sales, what will be the construction cost, etc. Those all things, how much will be the collection, how much will be the cash flows. That all projection is a business plan, simply put. Now, this business plan is the heart and soul of this arrangement. Okay. And generally, the investor who is putting in money will be very specific about this. Okay. So it is even documented. It is very well understood. So I have written well understood as well as documented, because there are agreements which would probably clearly mention that investor is only and only a financial investor. So this could be, may not be the case. Okay. For sales and construction, there are very detailed timelines which are agreed. And in case there is any delay, then that delay related time extension formula also could be mentioned in this, that if there is 15% of sales balance, then whatever was committed, there is a shortfall. So how much time can be additionally given, etc. Because see, the investor is bringing in money only to earn money. Okay. And probably it is the developer's expertise that is being leveraged. It is a give and take arrangement. Very well. If it runs very well, it goes absolutely smooth. So the business plan has to be added. The business plan is also monitored. I spoke earlier, there are no human resources on payroll. This again is my thought. There could be a difference also. Extension of timelines based on unsold areas, balance construction, etc. Of course, this clause could be a part of that particular agreement, because see, time extension cannot be blindly and ad hoc given by the investor if at all there is some business plan related parameter which has not been met. Now, another aspect, and that is a power which is given to an investor in all this. He can appoint a PMC. He can himself independently appoint a PMC. Fees of the PMC will be paid by this particular LLP, and that PMC can give reports to that investor. It could be about sales, construction, etc., etc. Okay. So that authority probably an investor may keep with him. For borrowings, see, we saw in the very first part, LLP is has a separate legal identity. LLP can borrow also. Okay. But for borrowing, probably there can be a strict condition that LLP has to seek permission from investors. And if an investor does not permit, there can be no borrowing. Okay. Because with borrowing will come interest cost and the profitability will be. So investor will mostly be very aware. Next, bank accounts and profit sharing. These two are the ones which will be very, very closely monitored in this entire arrangement. There could be even monthly meetings or quarterly meetings. Okay. And bank accounts authorization. Who will be signing which particular accounts, which will be jointly signed, how the funds from these bank accounts will be transferred to investor. Now, there can be some IRR related threshold that up to a particular IRR, all money goes to the investor. As the IRR increases, then there can be some amount that goes to the developer, some amount goes to the investor. But this again is deal to deal and project to project, depending on the area in which project is executed, what is the profitability, etc. Yes, throughout the project, there can be a restriction on transfer of capital contribution. We have seen earlier that any particular partner, he can transfer his particular capital to someone else. But in this entire arrangement, there can be a specific caveat put that the developer may not be able to transfer his share, but yes, the investor can transfer his share. So a developer has to stay with the project from day one till the last day. Okay. This probably could be because investor at the onset could be very clear that he will be able to transfer his share and leave the project whensoever he feels so. Profit sharing, these ratios can be in the LLP agreement. Also, there can be some allocation related concept that first profit will go to the investor, or there will be some profit sharing arrangement. We saw in section 10 clause 2A of subsection 2A of Income Tax Act that profits in the hand of the partners is exempt from tax. So certainly they will try to get some profits out of this. Being in an LLP, being recognized as partners, both would certainly like to get this exempt income in their own P&L. Next, yes, very important thing. We spoke about profit sharing, but we did not mention about losses. There can intermittently be some losses also. And then this agreement can mention either both how they will share the losses, or it could even be that developer has to bear the losses. So again, this depends on the Excel sheet as it works out between each project, each deal. Okay. Partnership interest, I spoke earlier, the developer may not be allowed to transfer his partnership interest. Okay. But yes, the investor, he will be able to. Books of accounts and project management and project development, project construction, getting approvals, all that will be only and only responsibility of the developer. There could be a big list of conditions also, all the reports, etc., which he has to fulfill, he has to provide on monthly basis, MIS, etc. Yes, investor can appoint a CA to check all the project expenses. Apart from the PMC also, they can have their own CA. Last is winding up, and these are general things, not general, important at times, dispute resolution, warranties, etc. But these arise whensoever they are the ones which take the center stage. But apart from this, the overall arrangement is like this. One important aspect in this is interest, which I have not mentioned, but even on the capital contribution, there can be an interest which can be decided by both the parties, and that the LLP may pay. Okay. Secondly, there can be also a condition about appointment of auditors, appointment of tax auditors, appointment of tax consultants, etc., etc. So these things apart, overall, the LLP arrangement will work in this manner, that one person brings in money, the LLP buys a land or LLP buys a development right, and LLP maintains its own books of account, and LLP generates profits, shares the profit, LLP pays interest, LLP claims the deduction of interest, and so on. I hope all the three parts, there is at least a fair level of understanding how this LLP arrangement can work. If you have any other suggestions, please come back to me.